Yeah. We're back. Thanks again for tuning in, folks. It's your boy Ronnie Lott, the sports jock. You're tuning in to Spectator Sport. It's me, Ronnie Lott, the sports jock, your host. I got Talent with me. Say something, Talent.
Talent in the building, a.k.a. Draft Guru.
Now, draft guru number 1 over here. I don't know about this other guy over here. That's Monday morning quarterback number 2 because I wasn't too impressed by his draft. The kid thinks he's
I would be jealous
Dolphins
too.
GM. He's the Dolphins GM. He's trying to trade away everybody for peanuts. Hey,
I would be jealous too if I drafted CJ, Chris Johnson, Wes Walker, Roddy White, Hakeem Nicks, and Fred Jackson in the first 4 picks in the draft. I'll be jealous. I would be jealous too.
Folks, I'm going to say this, folks. If you're in a 10-man league and you're in a draft and you're able to get Michael Vick and Peyton Manning after the 7th round, if you're able to get both of those guys, everybody else in that league just need to go ahead and commit suicide because they're all just donating their money. Thanks again. Back-to-back championships.
I don't agree with that at all. I can see why people were concerned with both of those guys, but hey, you did a heck of a job to get those guys where you got them from. Hey, I commend you on that, but at the same time, I can understand why people shy away from those two because Peyton hasn't played for a whole year, and Vic, he's hurt this preseason.
7th and 8th round. That's why I got Peyton.
Like I said, I'm not mad at the picks, but I mean at the same time, you can't just be wild on everybody else because they wasn't jumping at the bit to grab these two
this is the thing.
guys.
This is what I'm saying to you. It's one thing to be jumping at the bit to grab them. If people were jumping at the bit, he would have went top 5 rounds, you know. But those guys dropped. So I mean, these guys are top quality. First, second, third round type quality, type talent. And to get them in the 7th and 8th round, and especially when, if a guy doesn't draft a quarterback early, you expect the quarterback to be a weak spot on your team, correct? Now you telling me, now it goes from being a weak spot to a strength. So you telling me you got strength all across the board, folks. Strength all across the board. That's how we do it. Spectator Sport. Let me tell you where to find us. Check us on YouTube, youtube.com/FUKJosh420. Check us on Twitter at Spectator Sport, the number 1, at Ronnie Lott, at Holland Jungle, at FUKJosh. Also, check us on Facebook, facebook.com/Spectator Sport, /Holland Jungle, /Muscle Beats. Shout out to the kid Muscle Beats in the building, always holding us down on the sound. Check out his new mixtape, folks. It's on DatPiff. You can also cop that on iTunes. Muscle Beats present Flex With Me Volume 1. Go ahead and show some love, folks. The kid's mad talented. One more, I want to give a big shout out to the kid, Nando Chain, doing his thing. He dropped that new single. For Ken Soy, and that's Spanish for who are you? You know, who am I? Excuse me, who am I? I know who I am. I'm Ronnie Lott, the sports jock. Check me on Twitter. Who are you, Talent?
I'm a draft guru. That's who I am. Draft guru who's about to win some money. That's who I am.
Let's go ahead and talk a little NCAA football. Football season is back. It's all about football. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters more than football. It's all about football. When we're talking about sports, obviously, we're not talking about anything related to life because everything else is more important than stupid sports. But while we're talking about...
Why you gotta send shots like that, son?
I mean, because it is the reality. You know, we live in a country where... Listen to this, man. Before the hurricane comes, sports mean everything. But after the hurricane gets here, sports is irrelevant because everybody's just trying to stay alive. So we want to get back to the entertainment. Let's go to the entertainment. College football is back.
Okay,
it's all
stop
about
taking
the U.
shots, son.
It's all about the U. I want to give a big shout out to the kid, Duke Johnson. Unbelievable. 150 in his debut. The kid averaged like 8 yards a carry. Just unbelievable. Looked like another in the line of great UM running back. Think about this. You go from a guy like Lamar Miller to Duke Johnson. I mean, just from the guys that you had in the past, I mean, just unbelievable. Such a great talent. And I'm so happy to see UM getting a great player of his caliber. And UM was able to pull out a pretty solid victory over a Boston College team, a tough Boston College team on the road. How you felt about that victory in week 1?
I mean, they look shaky from the start. I mean, I still think they have a lot of addressing needs on that defense because their secondary was picked apart, and that front seven was getting no pressure. You know, but as things, you know, as you got into the second and third quarter, you know, they started to send a little more blitzes, and you know they started to get that little bit of pressure on the outside by blitzing the cornerbacks and things of that nature. But they have some addressing issues and some needs. I mean, and as far as you know, the freshman goes, Johnson, that's exactly what they needed because to be honest with you, I couldn't even identify nobody on that team.
Exactly.
I mean, that team that's not a Canes
I'm
team
a fan,
to me.
and I couldn't.
I mean, you can't identify some of the players. I mean, I know that the receiver, I think he was number 1 yesterday. I forgot his name. Just forgive me. But he, you know, I've known of him, but he's never produced like he did yesterday. And then with Johnson, you know, just coming onto the scene the way he did yesterday, the offense looked good. But that defense, they're going to have to find a way to get pressure with that front four. You know, your secondary is suspect right now.
I definitely agree with you. And once again, Duke Johnson had 7 carries, 135 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 monstrous 50-yard runs. So you definitely got to give him a lot of props. Also want to give a lot of props to Denzel Perryman. Anytime you got a name like Denzel, you got to be a smooth brother. And he took one to the house, so he's definitely pretty smooth. Like I said, going into this game, I was at the actual UM spring game this offseason. And just watching that spring game, I was so unimpressed. So coming into the game when you go down 14-zip quickly off of Andre Williams' 4-yard run and then another 15-yard pass from Chase Reddick, you're like, man, what's going on with the U? But you know they clawed and fought back. And like I said, I want to give a lot of respect to the quarterback, quarterback. I mean, the kid played with a lot of poise, a lot of moxie. Stephen Morris, I want to give him, like I said, he played like a veteran, the veteran that this team really needed. So I got to give him a lot of props for that. Let's go ahead and go on to another game.
The receiver that I was referring to as well as Alan Hearns. Yeah, I mean, I know Hearns, and he's been like, you know, he's had his, you know, glimpses in the past, but Hearns is another guy that was productive the other day as well.
All right, Florida State put up a big number. Number 7, Florida State. They beat Murray by 69-3.
Come on, that's a cupcake.
That was a joke game.
We'll give that to you, Florida State. We're going to have to wait till you actually face someone in the ACC.
Let me talk about another game that matters to me. UNC beat Elon 62-0. You know, anytime you beat Elon, you upset me because I like Elon. I don't know why. I just like the team named Elon. You know, I mean, who the hell plays for Elon? What? Think about this. If you're a parent
These
and
are
the
warm-up
coach of Elon,
games, man.
What happens when the coach of Elon walks into your living room and tries to sell you on Elon?
These are tune-up games, man. These guys are just they want to work out the kinks and because they want to get a different look from a defense. Like, these are not actual teams. This is why these teams get paid to come get beat like this. Like, they get paid millions and millions of dollars to fly to UNC and get beat by 50. So, this is what, you know, it's a give and take. This is what happens. I mean, you play Elon, Murray State. These are the schools that you beat. But imagine if you were Michigan when they lost to Appalachian State and you had to pay them $5 to $10 million to come there and beat you in the big house.
Exactly. Yeah, that makes no sense. Now let's go ahead and talk about a game that wasn't just a giveaway game. Clemson versus Auburn, which was a hell of a game.
Best game of the weekend.
Number 14 Clemson. And I love Taj Boyd. I think he's another sleeper, Heisman sleeper, unbelievable dual threat quarterback. He led this Clemson team to a victory on the road in Atlanta, Georgia. Auburn, like I said, Auburn, they fought well, but like I said, Boyd and that team, just too much poise. They played real strong. How you felt about that game?
I mean, overall, the defense has played fairly decent to me. I mean, besides some big plays from Ellington, he had some very big runs. He rushed for over 200 yards.
231 yards.
He rushed for over 200
carries.
yards. But there was a lot of big runs. I mean, it's not like he shredded them the whole game. It was a lot of big runs.
Anytime you run for over 200, it's a shred.
Sammy Watkins did not play, but DeAnthony Hopkins did step up and set a school record with 13 catches. I mean, it was an exciting game. Kyle Frazier, the young quarterback from Auburn, he made some plays, but then he made some big mistakes down the stretch. You know, it came down to the wire, but Clemson was able to pull it out. But overall, that game was a good game, and that's what you look for. You know, you want those type of matchups and not people playing Murray State in Elon the first week of the season because they want to try to save themselves for national titles, but not in the case of North Carolina, but in Florida State. But come on, give us a matchup. Challenge your team. What is your team really made of? You're not going to find out what they're made of by playing Murray State, but Clemson Auburn game, that's where you find out what your team's made of and how good they really are.
Well, you know, sometimes that whole theory backfire. Look at what happened to number 8 Michigan. They took on number 2 Alabama, and they just got destroyed. I mean, you got a pretty good quarterback, the kid from Deerfield playing for Michigan, Denard Robinson. I mean, and they just had Denard looking where he couldn't run, he couldn't do much of anything. I mean, he got off a few bombs, but 41-14. Alabama had another freshman tailback that looked absolutely unbelievable. Let me go ahead and pull up. His name is Yeldon. TJ Yeldon, 11 carries, 111 yards and a touchdown. He looks like the next coming. So, I mean, I was pretty impressed. A.J. McCarron had another solid, decent performance, 199 yards and 2 touchdowns. But that's what you expect, you know? But how you felt about that game, Talent?
I mean, the game was a joke. Bottom line is, like I've been telling people, it's SEC country, this is SEC world. They own the NCAA. No, I mean, come on, Michigan, a top 10 team. This is another reason why the rankings don't mean anything. A top 10 team comes to play Alabama and makes them like a Pop Warner football team. They control the line of scrimmage the whole night. They were way more physical than Alabama ever dreamed of being. Denard Robinson couldn't run anywhere because they were daring him to run, and he wanted to try to play from the pocket. He's not a passer. That's not what he does. So he was overthrowing, underthrowing, throwing interceptions the whole night. That's not what he does. This is not Big Ten football. These are NFL defenses that you're going up against week in and week out. As for all you retards, mentally challenged people out there who were questioning Alabama being in the national championship game last year, you need to your questions have been answered. This is why you don't send no one else into the national title game, because this is what you would have got in the national title game, LSU versus anybody else. The SEC is above and beyond any other division, conference, team in NCAA football. If you're not playing the SEC, you're not really playing football.
Talon, well, I definitely agree with you on that particular saying. But one thing I want to add to that, like I heard in one of the telecasts this weekend, I guess it was Herb Streak and I forgot the other guy's name, but they talked about it wasn't Corso, it was the other guy.
Desmond Howard?
No, the older fella that actually calls the games with them. Not on the pregame show, but actually during the game. I forgot his name.
Musburger.
Yeah, Brent Musburger. So with him and Musburger, and they talked about how USC is becoming America's team because America is so tired of the SEC dominance and what's been happening in the last few years. So everybody's rooting for USC.
I agree
to
with
be
that
team with Matt Barkley. You got the blonde hair kid. You got Matt Barkley, and he's a hell of a kid. You know, a hell of a quarterback. And that's a team that can actually give this team any type of run. Outside of that, it's a wrap.
I agree with you completely, and that's why I was discussing this with someone earlier in this week, and I said the SEC should not be allowed to play any teams from any conference besides USC, because that's the only team that can physically match up with them and bring that same type of aggressiveness and that NFL type of defense and offense to an SEC opponent. I mean, as far as LSU and Alabama goes, because when you talk about Alabama playing these other teams in college football, it's a joke. It's just a joke, and they're beating up on all these Big Ten schools, and they need to stop it, and they need to go play USC. That should have been a number 1 and a number 2 teams going at each other. First week of the season. Yes, that's what. You're going to schedule Michigan.
Because
that was a joke of a game.
Loss, now we put
Marquise Lee, Robert Woods, Matt Barkley. That big physical offensive line and defense in the secondary looking like NFL. That's an NFL football game. This is what the fans want to see, and that's what you should give the fans. Not 41-14, the 8th ranked team in the nation. That's a joke, man. That was pathetic. I didn't even watch the second half of that loser game.
I'll say this. The reason why you don't do that, for years, UM and Florida State, when they were perennial powers, would always play the first game of the year. Labor Day game, UM Florida State. You can mark it down. Now, obviously, after that first loss, you do have an opportunity to bounce back. But what I'll say is this: a lot of teams weren't able to bounce back, and a lot of teams had issues when it came to, like I said, one of those two teams was basically out of the national championship picture that early, you know? And then if your schedule, your strength of schedule is not strong, you know what you mean? So what? You want to build up. If your team just coming in, you want to build up to play a lot of the better
Listen to me.
teams. You don't want to start out.
If Alabama would lose a game to USC week 1, I would not have any issues with them going through the rest of that schedule, because I know it's going to be a close game, and Nick Saban is just a heck of a coach, and he would not allow them to go through these struggles. Those other teams are just not as talented as you think they are.
All right, let's go down the list of some other games that were played, some other blowouts. Well, this one was fairly close. Oklahoma didn't look that impressive, getting past UTEP 24-7.
They look bad.
What do you thought was the issue with this Oklahoma team and Bob Stoops?
I mean, the issue is just,
Landry Jones
not getting it done. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he hooked up late with Kenny Stills, throughout the game, but I mean, when you got UTEP coming there and hold you to 24 points, that's a joke.
Well,
I mean, the defense obviously did that part, but the offense, no.
I can't tell you that Oklahoma's defense did their part. When you give up 21 carries for 177 yards.
You only gave up 7 points, though.
But still, you gave up
it's about getting in the end
yards
zone.
on the
But it's about getting in
ground.
the end zone. They ain't getting in the end zone. I don't care how they got it. The defense held their part up. When the offense only scores 24 points against UTEP, I have an issue with that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're OU, if you giving up 177 to UTEP, what are you gonna do when you play Alabama? What are you gonna do when you play a real team? Come on, man. When you play Texas, what are you gonna give up? 300 yards rushing? Let's go ahead to the next game, and probably another displaying of a new jersey. Oregon has to have more jerseys than every team combined. Every week they got a new jersey. I mean, I love it, by the way. I love their new jerseys. Oregon, they pulled out a win over Arizona State, I guess. It was 57-34.
I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, at the end of the day, you know who runs that.
Arkansas State, excuse me.
Who runs that, the athletic department basically is Nike, so they're never going to win the same jersey twice. And who cares about the jerseys? Did you see what they did to Arkansas State? They had 54 points. They had 50 points and not even a quarter of football.
Oh yeah,
it was disgusting. It was they ran.
They had 50
ran
points
rampant.
by half.
They had 50. No, they had 50 points with 8 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Yeah,
and their starters were all on the bench. All the starters were on the bench with 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. That was a beating that Arkansas State would never forget.
It was 50-3. With 7 minutes.
With 7 minutes to go in the second quarter. Do you understand what that means? It's disgusting to even think about that. But they do have a freshman quarterback, a redshirt freshman quarterback, that is nasty. You thought Darren Thomas had moves and can shake and can run? Check this kid out if you get a chance to watch an Oregon football game this year, because this kid was lethal.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about number 6. Buffalo versus number 6 Georgia versus Buffalo, 45-23, blah blah blah. Not much to talk about. You want to say anything about GA's win?
I mean, GA didn't look that great. I mean, I understand they put up 45 points, but if you actually watch that game like I did, they didn't look that great. I mean, they have some issues to work out as far as that offensive goes right now. I mean, that those two freshmen, well, the one freshman back, Todd Gurley, he looked good. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, if you're watching the game, you weren't that impressed with Georgia to be the 6th ranked team in the country.
Definitely. Speaking of great freshmen, I want to, like I said, 3 freshmen played. I mean, unbelievable lights out in their first. I mean, true freshmen guys. First NCAA game between Gurley, Duke Johnson, and TJ Yeldon from Alabama. So all 3 players were over 100 yards rushing. Obviously, Duke Johnson with the most with 121 yards or 130.
I think he had like 150. I think he had 125 in like the third, fourth quarter, so he had more than 120.
Well, let me pull that out. Let's go ahead and go to the next game. You had give me 1 second, folks. Sorry about that. Number 10, Arkansas of Jacksonville State, 49-24. West Virginia over Marshall, 69-34. How you feel about that West Virginia team?
That West Virginia team is going to be a nightmare in the Big 12. I'm telling you that right now.
That quarterback should have been at the U, man.
Geno Smith
should be at the U.
A Ja'Cory Harris multiplied by 100. That dude is accurate. He has a strong arm, and he makes great decisions. And he's not a runner, people, because people love to label black quarterbacks as runners. He's not a runner. I'll put that out there to you right now. He sits back in that pocket, and he lets it loose. Stedman Bailey, Tavon Austin, all those guys, it's going to be a nightmare for the Big 12. That's the only thing I can say, because you already don't play any defense in the Big 12.
Exactly.
And now you're bringing the offense like that there. So you're talking about the last 8 quarters, this team has put up over 140 points because they scored 70 against Clemson in the bowl game.
I definitely agree with you that. And just to recap, Duke Johnson did have 7 carries, 135 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So let's go ahead and continue on. This is Spectator Sport. You're listening to your boy Ronnie Lott, the sports jock. Got talent with me, FUK Josh. Check him on Twitter at FUK Josh, at Spectator Sport, the #1, at Holland Jungle. That's where to find us, facebook.com/Holland Jungle, /Spectator Sport, /Ronnie Lott. Let's go ahead and continue on. Like I said, another great, you're always excited for football to come back, and this first weekend is always so intense. And like I said, you're so happy you got the NFL coming on Wednesday, so we're definitely going to get into that. Let's talk about number 15, Wisconsin. Number 12, Wisconsin, almost actually losing 26-21. Northern Iowa almost pulls off the upset. How you felt about that? With Ball rushing 32 rushes for 120 yards, but they were able to pull it off at home over Northern Iowa.
I mean, Wisconsin. They did lose Russell Wilson last year. They lost some weapons on at the receiver position. You did return Monty Ball, but you lost starters on the offensive line as well. So they didn't look that strong, but you gotta expect that though. They lost a lot of stars to the NFL, and you don't have those same playmakers. But Monty Ball is back, so they don't have to just get it together. You have a tough Big Ten schedule to go through. So because Ohio State looked great yesterday. Michigan, they did look weak, but they were playing an SEC opponent, so what do you expect? But you're gonna have you're gonna have a tough Big Ten schedule to get through, so you're gonna have to go ahead and figure out what went wrong and fix it.
All right, let's go ahead and continue on. Let's talk about Nebraska. Number 17, Nebraska, 49 over Southern Miss, 49-20 over Southern Miss. Now, just some things of note in that particular game. Their starting tailback, Burkhead, was injured again, a guy who's often injured. He's a hell of a running back if he can stay healthy. Taylor Martinez had an excellent game, 354 yards passing, 5 TDs. Burkhead, only 3 carries, 68 yards, had a pretty long run and got hurt on that run. I think he broke his leg. So let's go ahead and just get into that a little bit. What do you thought about that?
You gotta expect Nebraska to go beat Southern Miss. Not really impressed by it. Like I said, this is nothing but tune-up games for these schools at this point in time. I didn't even really watch much of that game at all. But Taylor Martinez and Burkhead and those guys, that running attack is going to be lethal, especially when you're going up against an opponent that's not up to your standards. But like I said, it's a tune-up game to find out team strength and weaknesses. Basically, I'm going to take a whole look at my team, but beating up on these, people who are inferior against my squad.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about the next team, number 18, and Urban Meyer's first game in the Big House. Urban Meyer in the Ohio State Buckeyes won over Miami, Ohio. 56-10. It started off a bit slow. They didn't look too impressive. Started out really sluggish, but they were able to kind of separate themselves. A few great plays by especially, that 23-yard pass to Devin Smith. Was that the one-handed catch?
Yeah, that was the one-handed catch in the back of the end zone. That was real nasty. That probably is going to be the best catch of the year. How he snagged that out of the air, it was ridiculous.
Definitely an impressive play. Now, let me ask you this. Let's go ahead and talk about what were you most impressed with coming out from week 1 in college football? With you being a college guy.
I mean, what I was impressed with the beating that Alabama put on Michigan. That's what I was impressed with, because you got all these people who were complaining and an uproar about them going to the national title game, and then win their conference. And so now you put them up against a top 10 school in the country, and they run rampant on them like they're not even there. So that's what you have to be impressed with, was the whooping that you schedule these tough games week one, which all teams are scared to do, for the reason that you stated earlier, because they can't recover, or their team might not be able to recover due to the schedule and blah blah blah, which is all a bunch of excuses to me. Alabama says we return a bunch of new faces on our defense, and we lost a bunch of players to the NFL, but we're gonna schedule Michigan with Denard Robinson, the Heisman favorite. We're gonna shut them down, and we're gonna blow them out. We're gonna look impressive doing it. That's what I'm impressed with this week.
Folks, let's talk about the leaderboard of the Dutch Bank Championship. Just a little update. Rory's lead on the leaderboard through 19, minus 19. Then you have Lewis. I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's name. Oysten Heisen. He's 18 on there. And then you have Tiger at 3 through 8. He's 16 on there. So Tiger's definitely in the hunt. You got Phil through 11. He's 12 on there. So some of these guys, some of the big names still in the hunt at the Deutsche Bank Championship. But let's go, Rory. Pull it out. Let's go ahead and continue on. This is Spectator Sports. Your boy Ronnie Lott, the sports jock. Thanks again for tuning in. You know where to find us. Check us on YouTube, youtube.com/FUKJosh420. Check us on Facebook, facebook.com/Spectator Sport. /Holland Jungle, /FUK Josh, /Ronnie Lott. Check us on Twitter at Spectator Sport, the #1, at Holland Jungle, at Ronnie Lott, at Muscle Beats. That's BEATZ, folks. Muscle Beats, check them out. Don't forget to check out my boy at Nano Chang 89. Wicked Valley in the building. Once again, shout out to the kid Tone Bone for coming through. Expect a lot of big things from that kid. He just released another single, Party Right Here. So we're expecting a lot of big things from this kid. This is what he says. We don't go to the club because we can party right here. And I agree with him completely, because, cats in the club just throwing bottles. They don't know how to act. Just tripping, So instead of wasting our money in the club, we can waste it at home. So remember that, ladies. We're doing it at the crib. MJD ends his holdout. How do you feel about MJD's holdout? Ending his holdout without a contract. Shaking my head.
That's
SMH,
yeah.
BOL, and whatever type of
and BS.
BS you can.
But it's just ridiculous. You got this guy, this owner that comes in, he's trying to stick his chest out, and we're not gonna pay him. And at the end of the day, you pay the guy. He's very productive back. He's been this, cornerstone of your team, for the past 3-4 years.
I can't blame him though. It worked. I can't blame the owner. It worked.
But at the same time, did it really work? Now you're going to suffer, because now he sits out. He's not going to be the same player, even though I drafted him in the 5th round of my draft. But he's not going to be the same player.
I'm glad you know that he's not going to be the same player.
But just in case, week 10, he comes around, but for those first 10 games, you're not going to get the Maurice Jones-Drew of last year. So did it really work? No, you just hurt your team. Your team's going to even look more pathetic than what they usually would look if he was actually being productive. And with Blaine Gabbert coming along, if you watch him in the preseason game, he looks actually good this preseason. Now you're not gonna have a running game.
Well,
did it really work? Did it really work? I don't know if it really worked. Now, if you talk about a guy who was not productive these past 2 seasons and who did not lead the NFL in rushes last year or all-purpose yards the past 2 years, then you might have a point. The owner at that point in time would have a point. But you talk about a guy that actually produces, and you didn't want to pay him. Now your team's going to suffer, even though they're going to be suffering already, because your team's very young.
Exactly, and I definitely agree with that. But hey, man, like I said, in the business world, tough decisions have to be made, and he felt that it was in the best interest of his team to leave that contract situation where it's at. It's not as if Jacksonville is making a lot of money anyway to start out with, you know. So whatever you got to do as an owner or as an individual running a business, I can't be mad at you. I mean, I always side with the players because, you know, I go with the underdogs. And with that being said, I think MJD got to stand fast, got to hold your ground. You got to find alternate ways of getting paid out here, man. That's not the only way you get paid, MJD. You should have a few more sponsorship deals, a few more sponsorship offers on the table, do a reality show, whatever you got to do to get the money. You show this team that either they pay you or you go somewhere else. But you know what? You can't hold out and then fold. So what are you just trying to do? What? Not go to camp? You were just trying to take a break from off-season camp? But you know, only person that hurts is yourself, because what happens to backs who don't who are not there for the off-season workouts or are not there in training camp? You have a Chris Johnson type year where it takes you
but that just doesn't hurt him. That hurts the team as well. That's what I'm trying to tell you. No one wins in this situation. People are going to look at it and say, oh, the owners won. They didn't give in to his contract. No, the owners didn't win, because now the product on the field is not going to be what people are paying for to see. We're paying to see one of the best running backs in the NFL perform. Are we going to get that now? No, we're not going to get that. So people are going to say the owners won. The owner won, but he didn't really win, because at the end of the day, he hurts everything. Everyone's hurt from this, not just Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with you. It would be like you say, a lose-lose. It was not a win situation for anyone. MJD lost, the team lost. So I mean,
the most important thing, the fans lose. Now I have to go see a garbage team that's already garbage not be productive because their running back is not doing, he's not in shape, because he wasn't in camp, because they didn't want to pay him, and they should pay him because he's very underpaid.
Exactly. We got to
come
go
on,
see
I
garbage.
lose. I'm not going to your games now. I'm not paying $100 for a ticket and pay $15 for beers. Come on, dude.
All right, let's talk about another injured player who should be back for Week 1. We're talking about Trent Richardson, number 3rd overall pick, beast of the draft, and the guy that I picked also personally. And let me tell you which round I got him, folks, so you know the type of schleps I'm drafting against. Let me see where we at.
Trent Richardson. 4th round, I think you picked him in.
And I was able to get Trent in the 4th round. 7th overall pick in the 4th round. So y'all let Trent slip to the 4th round, but he should be back and ready to practice. Like I said, he had arthroscopic knee surgery a few weeks back. So it was a minor procedure. He's definitely back at practice, and he's looking on his way to start in Week 1. Now they play the Eagles Week 1. What do you expect from Trent Richardson coming in Week 1? If you think if he's already practicing today and he's already having contact?
Well, I just want to say one quick thing about you drafting Trent Richardson in the 4th round. Hey, that's cool and all, but I got a proven commodity in Fred Jackson in the 4th round, so it's not a really big deal to me that you drafted him there. But I mean, Trent
coming
Richardson,
off an injury,
Trent
a proven
Richardson,
commodity coming off an injury
Trent
on a garbage team.
Listen to me. Trent Richardson, he played at Alabama. He rushed for 1,500 yards.
Exactly. He's a proven commodity.
Any back that can do that, I would feel, I'm okay with, especially when you do it in the SEC. But when you're comparing, when you compare it to the NFL, is kind of a different game. I'm not expecting him to explode on the scene for 200 yards, but I think he'll have a very productive day. They're probably going to limit him a little bit because he just had that knee worked on by Dr. Andrews down there in Alabama. So, I mean, I expect him to have a fairly productive day. Is he going to go for 200 yards? No. Does that team need a lot of help? Yes.
Definitely. I mean, I don't expect him to go for 200, but I mean, he is playing a pretty shoddy Eagles run defense. So when you playing against the Eagles
that just
run
picked up DeMarco Murray and drafted a heck of a rookie from the kid out of Cal that can run side on the side.
Come on, please.
I'm just telling you.
One kid is not gonna change.
I mean, they improved that linebacking core, and their front four is good.
I mean, like I said, I'm definitely not impressed by Philly. I was able to draft Vic in the 7th round. I know he's an injury-prone player, and like I said, one of the players that I always told myself, I like his potential, his upside, if he can stay on the field. But even if he's not going to stay on the field, Peyton got your back. Don't worry about it. Speaking of neck issues, Peyton got your back, so don't worry about it. If one injured player can't do well enough, I get another injured player. So they should even each other out. Let's go ahead and get in our picks. Is there anyone else coming off an injury that you want to talk about, Talent?
I mean, Brian Urlacher is returning. He had his knee scoped. I think it was earlier in August. Last August, like August 14th or something. So he'll be able to start week 1. I don't know about Jason Witten. I don't know if he's I think it's a game time decision.
Yeah, they're waiting on the MRIs for Jason Witten. So he's saying he wants to play. If he's cleared to play, he's playing week 1. Miles Austin is back in practice, working out. So you expecting a lot of things from Miles Austin coming back.
You're expecting Des Bryant to play as well. He had to take a rest because he had some.
Hakeem Nicks, another player, coming off an injury who they're expected to play. So a lot of these guys, man, once the season starts, these guys are no matter what it takes, a lot of these guys are really trying their best to get back. Now, we talked a lot about it and we speculated about it, but what do you really expect from Adrian Peterson coming back, Talent? Serious talk. Week 1,
I don't expect a lot out of him. I probably expect limited carries, between 10 to 15 carries. Get him out there just to, get him in, because he hasn't even played in the preseason. So it's like, how you expect to just throw a guy out there? He hasn't played in the preseason. You're scared to play him in the preseason because you're protecting his knee. But what makes the difference between him getting in the preseason now versus being in that week 1? I mean, he can injure that knee either way if it's not 100%. And he's not 100% because he's just coming off the ACL surgery, 7-8 months ago? I'm expecting this guy to do 10 to 15 carries. I expect Gerhardt to have a big day, probably between 20 to 25 carries. And that's why I drafted Gerhardt for somebody late in the draft, because I believe Gerhardt's going to get the bulk of those carries.
Folks, did you just hear that? He drafted for somebody else. That's all that needs to be said about this league. You got fools drafting for other fools. I said it all. Let's go ahead and continue on. Let's talk about week 1 in the NFL. First game of the season. NFC East clash. The Dallas Cowboys, you got the 5-pointed star on my necklace versus the reigning champs, 2-time NFL champion, guy that made my season, Eli Manning, and the New York Giants, New York football Giants. Who you taking in that game, Talent?
This is going to be a tough decision, but I hate Eli Manning. So I'm going with the Cowboys, even though, obviously, I think the Cowboys are talented every year. It's just a simple fact. Can their players just, get over whatever issues they have as far as injuries or locker room issues or what? Throw all that stuff out the window. If you just look at them on paper, they're paper champions, but they have the talent to get it done. I'm taking the Cowboys. Miles returns, Des Bryant on the field, DeMarco Murray, Felix Jones, Tony Romo, Jason Witten might be out, but you got DeMarcus Ware outside rushing. They got good corners, Brandon Carr, Morris Claiborne. They got a whole new secondary. I'm taking the Cowboys because, a.k.a. I hate Eli Manning fan club.
All right, folks, we're actually going to post, also, folks, look out. We're going to be posting our picks on our Facebook page, so facebook.com/spectator sport. Look out for our picks. I'm going to go ahead and give that out. So the first game, we have, what was that? The Dallas Cowboys versus the Giants, and Talent takes?
I'm going with the Cowboys.
Takes the Cowboys. I'm going to go with the Giants. Like I said, I like the champs coming off an excellent season. I know Tony Romo's going to blow it. A lot of people call him Tony Homo, but I'm not going to degrade the guy like that. I think he's a hell of a player, but I'm sure he'll blow it in the turn. So I got to go with the G-Man. I love Eli Manning. Let's go ahead and go to the next game. And this one is going to be... Now, that first game is our Wednesday game, and that's kind of weird.
That's
you got a Wednesday game, and then next game is on Sunday. So you kind of give us a little infusion there early, but you don't get nothing until Sunday. And the first game Sunday is going to be Indy at Chicago. Who you like in that game, Talon?
I mean, you got the debut of Andrew Luck, his first regular season game. I mean, Urlacher is coming off injury, but then Brandon Marshall, Jay Cutler reunite. I mean, Matt Forte got paid. Everyone over in Chi-Town feeling real good about their chances this season. And, Andrew Luck and that team they're building, and, everything's starting new and fresh, after the Peyton saga and all that this offseason. So I'm going with the Cowboys. The Chicago Bears, they should win this game by at least 2 touchdowns.
You're going with the Chicago Bears? I definitely agree with you on that pick. I have to go with the Chicago Bears. I mean, I've been completely impressed by everything that is Andrew Luck and all that kid has been able to do in the preseason so far. But it is the regular season, and I can't expect that much from a rookie, especially when you got Julius Peppers breathing down your neck. I mean, that guy's still completely unbelievable. And like I said, that connection of Marshall, Cutler to Marshall connection, and with Devin Hester being able to work the slot in the second receiver. I like that Chicago team, especially to definitely be able to pull out that win. Let's go ahead and go to the next game. We got Philly at Cleveland. That's going to be a real nice game. Who you got in that one, Tyler?
I mean, obviously I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, you're starting a rookie quarterback. You have no receivers to speak of. The only person you really depend on is this guy, Trent Richardson, who has not played an NFL game yet, coming off knee surgery. I'm going with Philadelphia, D-Jack, Vic, Shady McCoy, and that defense. I'm going Philadelphia all day long. I don't care if they're playing in Cleveland.
I definitely agree with you, Talent. Now, let's look at that game. Now, how do you feel about Vic? What do you think Vic's going to give you in that game?
I mean, the whole issue with Vic can be a productive quarterback. Everyone knows that Vic has already played at the highest level in this league. It's the fact that can he stay healthy? The Cleveland Browns defense is not a great defense. They do have some players on that defense, but they're not a great defense. I expect Philly to score points. That's what I expect in the game.
I definitely agree with you with that. And you do expect this Philly defense to hold up?
Absolutely. I mean, I have no reason why. They're another year under the defensive coordinator system. All the kinks and all that dream team and all that stuff. None of that's, I know Michael Vick did make those comments, but like I said, they have another year under this guy's defenses. There's a better understanding what's expected of guys and what guy, and a better understanding of what am I supposed to do in this defense this year. So now I think they're going to hold up very well, and it's probably going to be a low. I mean, the Cleveland Browns are going to put up a lot of points.
I definitely agree with you, and I'm going to go with Philly. I still like Cleveland to have a pretty strong running day. I still think that Philadelphia Eagles running game, run defense is a little bit weak, and they're definitely going to have a really good test at week 1 if Trent Richardson is healthy, and I'm hoping he is. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. New England Patriots at the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee starting Jake Locker. Go ahead, Tyler. You got your pick first.
I mean, come on, man. I'm taking Gronk Nation. Come on, this is a no-brainer. I mean, see, I did draft Chris Johnson, but that has nothing to do about who's going to win this game. Now, CJ, Mr. 4-2 himself, can rush for 200 yards for me. I have no problem with that. But Tom is going to spread that ball over the field, and they're going to score about 35 points, and they're going to beat them by 35-17. That's how I'm just calling it.
I definitely agree with you on that one. I wouldn't say 35-17. Let's go 31-14. But the same difference. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Atlanta at the Kansas City Chiefs. Atlanta's going on the road. What do you feel about that game with Atlanta going to Arrowhead?
I mean, Matt, if you looked at that Atlanta's offense this preseason, it's been very scary. I mean, and Julio Jones came out, said it.
First overall pick, yeah, Julio.
Yeah, he made some comments about, it's going to be nightmarish for defenses. He made some comment that didn't make a lot of people too happy about their offense and how scary it is. But I think Matty Ice is going to get it done. I think they're going to light it up. I mean, I understand that Romeo Crennel is a great defensive-minded coach, but I just don't think they have the talent in that KC secondary to stop that passing game of Atlanta. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the Falcons in this one.
Man, I can't continue to agree with you on these picks, but I gotta go with that one. I can't ever in my life pick with Matt Castle and the losers they got over in KC, and no nothing personal. Any of the players there. I like Jamal Charles. I'm a pretty
Eric
big
Berry
fan.
is returning, so that is a
Eric
plus for
Berry
them.
is a beast. I love Eric Berry and all that he represents. I mean, he got some good players. I just don't think they're consistent enough as a team, and it's left to be seen what Castle's gonna do. So I can't choose that team when you got a guy like Matt Castle at your quarterback. Let's go ahead and go to Jacksonville at Minnesota. Next game.
I mean, it's a very tough game here. I mean, because you got two young quarterbacks, two teams that have basically been on the decline for a while now. If I had to make a pick, I mean, MJD's not going to be starting this game, obviously. I wouldn't imagine this starting. I think they already announced Rashard Jennings as the starters. I will go ahead and take Minnesota. I mean, with what Christian Ponder, I guess he's been coming along great. I mean, he's been spreading the ball out. His whole thing is, can he stay healthy? You have Jerome Simpson over there. He's been making plays this preseason. I know personally he hasn't been too happy, but he's playing. That's the only thing you really can ask. I understand he's not happy, but he's playing. So I mean that's a good thing. It's a bonus. AP, who knows how much he's gonna get. How much action he's really gonna get. But I think Toby Gerhart is a good back that's gonna be able to produce for them, and I think Ponder is gonna be able to get this victory.
All right, I'm going to go in the other direction. I'm going to go with Jacksonville. I love everything that I've seen from Blaine this preseason. And to be honest with you, I'm going to have to agree with the owner. I don't think it's going to be much of a drop-off from, what's that backup running back? Excuse me, folks. Rashard Jennings. I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference in terms of the overall effect that Rashard Jennings is going to have on the game as opposed to what MJD would have had if he would have been all through camp. So even if
you're serious right now? Are you that serious?
I'll give you an example. If MJD got hurt,
wow.
Jennings come in and gives you like 80, 90 yards. So even if MJD was going to give you 120,
that guy's been that team, bro. Are you serious? This has been that team for the past 3 seasons. What do you think this guy's rushing for?
Once again, I like what Blaine's doing. I like Justin Blackman, and I'm gonna take them over Jake Locker. Over Jake Locker and that team. So I'm going with
Locker. You're talking about Christian Ponder, and number one is good luck.
Christian Ponder and that team.
People, if you're betting money, don't take his advice.
I'd rather go with what I see with Jacksonville.
And you're in the dome. You're not at Jacksonville. You're in the dome as well.
And what does that mean?
What that means is they have a home field advantage over a team who has no receivers to speak of besides who? Justin Blackman, a rookie? Come on, because it's a joke. He's a rookie. He's undersized. He's not AJ Green. He's not AJ Green.
Wasn't a good player from last year with the Dallas Cowboys.
This man couldn't catch a cold in camp. What are you talking about? He's looked horrible. Have you not seen the reports? That guy sucks.
Nah, man.
But, hey, like I said, if you bet money, I don't know if you'll bet with Lott. You might want to bet with H. I want to get that guy a call. I advise you highly against it, but I wouldn't bet with a guy who's picking the Jacksonville Jaguars in any game this year.
All right, next game is going to be the NFL debut of RG3 and the Washington Redskins on the road at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome against the New Orleans Saints. 1 o'clock game. How you feel about that game?
I mean, this is an easy pick. Obviously, I'm going with New Orleans. I understand they got all the coaches' suspensions, the GM being suspended, the players are being suspended, but I still think that offense is going to be very explosive. RG3 is going to be his first regular season game. I mean, I really can't see any scenario where I see the Redskins winning. I just don't feel like they do it. They did pick up Garcon, but their running game is not where it's supposed to be. I still think that offensive line is kind of shaky, and the defense is not up to par. And I think Arakpo, I don't even think he's starting this game, is he? I think Arakpo might even be hurt
injured?
right now.
He's injured?
I think he is.
I'm not sure, folks. Give me a second. We're going to go ahead and pull it up and just make sure we get a report on there. You want to talk a little bit more about that team? And let me check on Arakpo.
As far as the offense goes, though, you got Fred Davis, you got Pierre Garcon. RG3 has some weapons, but like I said, this is not preseason. People were talking about the preseason. Oh, they look good. These rookies look good. RG3 looks good. But those are preseason games. Now this is where you make your money. This is where everything actually happens. This is what defenses are doing. So many different looks at you. Your head's about to pop off because you're not processing things as fast as you were doing in college. So I'm gonna go with obviously the guy who just broke Dan Marino's 20-year-old, 30-year-old record, Drew Brees. And like I said, I understand about the suspensions, but I think Drew Brees will lead that team to victory. I understand that Jonathan Vilma is missing, but I still think they have enough on that team to get it done, especially versus a rookie quarterback. And I think they're going to be at New Orleans as well.
Yeah, definitely it is at New Orleans. Let me give me a checking, folks. I'm actually checking on the right pool. Now, what do you expect from Pierre Garçon with rookie quarterback? I like Garçon a lot personally.
I mean, Garçon, the reason why Garçon's good is because he can make plays. He doesn't have to be down the field to make plays. You can throw in some slip screens. You know, he can take some reverses. The guy's fast, the playmaker, big and strong. I mean, he did it this preseason. You know, they slipped him some screens. He broke for us, scored some touchdowns on this preseason. Pierre Garçon looked good to preseason to me. So, I mean, Iraq Poe, like I said, I'm not sure. I know it was a pass rusher on the team. I think he tore a bicep. Tore a bicep muscle, but like I said, if Iraq Poe's missing this, if Iraq Poe's going to be missing, this is another ding against the Redskins defense, which is not really that strong to begin with.
I definitely agree with you on that one. So my pick is definitely New Orleans also. Let's go and go to the next game, AFC East matchup. Bitter rivals. We're going with Buffalo Bills at the New York Football Jets and Timothy Richard Tebow on the bench. I got to go with Buffalo. I just don't like anything I see in the Jets offense. I'm sure their defense is going to play tough, but with the return of Fred Jackson and I think that quarterback is going to get back in sync, and I think the Buffalo team might pull it out 17-14 over the Jets.
This is a tough pick because the Jets' defense is really, really, really good, and I do believe that with the Wildcat coming into play and Sanchez be able to make a couple throws here and there, but that Buffalo Bills defense has been revamped. They've got Mario Williams, and he hasn't looked too great this, but like I said, it's a preseason. It's not really a big deal. But you got Fitz back, Stevie Johnson, you got Fred Jackson coming back. You got all those same weapons, but that Jets defense can be very, really, really good. And you're not really throwing the ball on the outside to, with Revis Island and Antonio Cromartie. So I think it's going to be very tough for the Bills. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Jets because with the Wildcat coming in, I think Sanchez can make a couple of throws here and there to get them on the board, and I think the defense will take care of the rest.
All right, let's go ahead and go on to the next pick, folks. It's your boy Ronnie Lott, the Sports Jock. I'm giving you my picks, folks. I'm giving you the picks. Go with the picks. Go with the man who knows what he's talking about. Let's go ahead and give you some more of these great picks. Another 1 o'clock game in a matchup of some good young quarterbacks. St. Louis at the Detroit Lions. I'm going to have to go with the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. At home, Megatron, too much Megatron.
I mean, you got to go Megatron. They just coming off the first playoff berth in the past, 10 years or something like that? I mean, you got Megatron playing out of control. I mean, the only thing that kind of concerns you is that they don't have a run game, but the Rams were so horrible last year. Sam Bradford couldn't stay healthy. They still have no receivers to really speak of on that team. I mean, Steven Jackson is back, but you do got a new head coach in Jeff Fisher, but I think it's just going to be too much offense for the St. Louis Rams.
Let me ask you this, before we no, never mind. I don't even want to talk about it. Let's go ahead and continue on. I apologize, folks. It's your boy Ronnie Lott, the Sports Jock. Check me out on Twitter, at Ronnie Lott, at Spectator Sport, the #1, at Holland Jungle. Much respect to the team. Let's go ahead and talk about the next game. Another 1 o'clock start at Reliance Stadium. We got the beast of this league, Arian Foster. The Dolphins, the Miami Mullets are going into Houston to take on Arian Foster. Miami with Ryan Tannehill and no one else going against Houston. The Houston Texans. I'm gonna have to say I'm going with the Texans. Your choice in that one, Talent?
Well, obviously I'm going with the Texans because the Dolphins they have no receiver to speak of. You cut Chad Johnson. You trade away your best corner on the team. I don't want to hear nothing about you Dolphin fans talking about he was not starting, blah, blah, blah. All that sounds like yada, yada, yada to me. He was the best corner on your team. You have no receiver to speak of. You have a rookie quarterback coming in that only had 16 starts in college. And you're going up against Andre Johnson, Matt Schaub, Arian Foster, that nightmare of defense that they have over there. And, with the Texans, I mean, the Dolphins have no chance in this one.
Okay, and I agree with you on that one. I'm not going to say no chance, but it's very slim.
Come on, man. Be for real,
okay,
dude.
now, this is probably going to be the game of the week, at least for me. My game of the weekend, and I expect a lot out of this game. Green Bay or San Francisco at Green Bay. 425 start at Lambeau Field. The 49ers, the tough, the rugged, the winners, these guys made it to the NFC Championship game. They revamped a new offense, a lot of Randy Moss. You got this whole team around now, and you're going against Aaron Rodgers. That tough 49er defense versus Aaron Rodgers. Tyler, I'm gonna let you go first, being a Niner guy yourself.
I mean, what it boils down to is, can we stop that passing attack? That's what it boils down to. We got a lot of new weapons on the offense. Obviously, we went out and got Alex Smith all the weapons that he needs since we couldn't complete a pass against the Giants in that NFC Championship game. I mean, the Green Bay secondary is suspect. Their whole defense is suspect to me. I mean, I think we can run the ball. Absolutely, we can run the ball. But is it the fact that is it going to be Alex Smith? Can he complete passes down the field? Can he get the deep ball to Randy Moss? Can he open things up? I think our secondary and our front seven is good enough to not shut down Aaron Rodgers, but contain him where we won't let him explode for 400 yards on us. You know, I think we can contain him, have him go for around 250, 300 yards with about 1 or 2 touchdowns. But can Alex Smith make the big plays when they need to be made for San Francisco to win this game? I'm going to go ahead and say yes, because I am a 49ers fan and I refuse to pick against them. But, I mean, to be objective, though, I think playing at Lambeau, first game of the season, you know, I might want to have to go with the Packers.
Oh, the talent went against the home team. And you call yourself a fan?
I said a fan of me picked the 49ers, but I said to be objective, to be a sportscaster, you got to pick the team you feel is really going to win the game.
I'm definitely going with Green Bay. Alex Smith, that's all I need to say, Alex Smith. I'm going with Green Bay. At home, Lambeau Field. Too much Aaron Rodgers coming off a season where this guy had with the best passer rating of all time. And you talking about this guy had only 6 picks. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, I am a big fan of the Niners defense, and don't get it twisted. I love their safety. What's that safety they got back there? The Niners safety. The tall one, the free safety.
What was his
He made the
name?
Pro Bowl. He's a hell of a player.
I forgot his name. Forgive me for 49er Nation. I forgot his name.
Now, I guess you're really not in the 49 Nation. So when you talk about the 49ers, please don't say us, because you ain't a part of it. You say them. Let's go ahead and continue on. Now, if they talk about spectator sport, then you can say us. But when they talk about the 49ers, please
I've
don't
been a
say
Niner
we.
fan since I was a child.
Don't say
Thank you very
we
much.
or us. I didn't know you spoke French. Don't say we.
I just forgot a name here, people. Forgive me. But we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and get that name for you guys. You know.
Let's go ahead and go to the next game while talent fumbles over that name. Seattle.
Yeah, I knew it was. See, the problem with this, his name is not Golston. It's Golson.
Golson, yeah.
Golson. See, I thought it was Golston. I didn't want to mispronounce my man's name, but it's Golson.
All right, let's go ahead and go to the next game. Since we got Golston name in there, let's go at Seattle and the running Marshawn's at Arizona in the University of Phoenix Stadium. Why is the Arizona Cardinals, a professional team, playing at the University of Phoenix Stadium? What sense does that make?
Why are they playing that? I don't understand.
I don't know. I mean, I thought they got a new stadium. Why is the stadium called University of Phoenix Stadium? I thought you was a professional team. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm incorrect.
I really don't know what's going on with that as well, but that game is going to be Russell Wilson is starting the first game, but the Arizona have no quarterbacks to speak of. I mean, what it boils down to in that game is I'm going to go ahead and take the veteran defense with the Arizona Cardinals versus that rookie QB. I always take the defense over that rookie QB any day of the week. I mean, you don't have any receivers over there with Seattle as well, so I'll stack 8 in the box against Marshawn the whole day, and I don't think Sidney Rice or any of those guys are going to be able to beat, the secondary of the Arizona Cardinals, so I'll take the Cardinals in this one.
I'm going to have to disagree. I'm going to go with Seattle. I think that running game is going to definitely be able to get off between Marshawn and Turbin. I think those two guys are going to have a fairly decent, fairly good first game. I like everything that I've seen from Russell Wilson. I don't think the pressure is going to really get to him. I like the way he has poise. I always talk about some guys They just seem like they know how to play this game no matter what you throw at them, all the different looks. Some guys just has that it, and I think Russell Wilson has it, and he's going to be able to definitely get over on a terrible Arizona team who don't know what the hell they doing. John Skelton, the other bum that you gave up a first-round pick for that loser. What's the kid name from Philly? The backup quarterback that they got?
Kevin Cobb.
Kevin suck. Because that's exactly what he does. So Kevin Cobb, just retire, man. You ain't got no business playing. Let's go ahead and talk about another game that matters. The second coming, Cam Newton starting his season off at Tampa Bay, Raymond James Stadium at 425. Too much killer Cam. I'm gonna have to go with Cam. I like everything that young man represents. I think Cam is gonna be able to pull it out. What do you think about that game?
I mean, be a good game. I mean, obviously, two young quarterbacks going at it. Cam just came on the scene, broke rookie records last year, made a Pro Bowl. Cam, you can't have the pressure. Your Carolina record on the other end wasn't that great. Steve Smith has been nicked up. But Tampa Bay is bringing in a new head coach. Running back Doug Martin is a rookie. I think Gerald McCoy. Did he get re-injured this preseason?
Either way, he's done nothing.
Sure.
He doesn't do anything, and he continues to do nothing.
It's a new era over there in Tampa Bay. I think Carolina's on the uprise of things, so I'm gonna go ahead and take Carolina.
Well, that makes two of us, so both of us got Carolina Panthers. Let's go ahead and continue. Stop stealing my picks, man. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. We're almost done here. We got the 7 o'clock game, the Sunday night game. I can't wait till the Sunday night game. I love Sunday night football. That's the last game at least. It's a game where everybody's focusing on you, just like the Monday night game. But that Sunday night game, you the last game of the weekend, so everybody's watching that game. So you got 8:20 start, NBC game, Mile High Stadium, Sports Authority Field at Mile High Stadium. I'm tired of y'all damn corporations. Can you stop messing up these damn field names? Why can't it just be Mile High Stadium like we all
paid
know?
my
Why
money.
Sports Authority
I paid
Field
my money to
be?
put Sports Authority in front of that. That's why.
Why Sports Authority gotta be there? What you got a damn Sports Authority outside the stadium?
Most likely they probably
I
have
hope you
it.
got a Sports Authority inside the stadium a mile high, cause
They probably got a little Sports Authority that sells all the Denver and stuff like that, fan gear and stuff like that.
Speaking of crazy stadium names and that Mercedes-Benz Superdome, y'all better be giving out Benz and not treating people like the last Superdome was treating them during Katrina. But let's go ahead and talk about something else, because I don't want to start no drama with the talent. I know he's drama-free. Let's go ahead and talk about that Sunday night game. Pittsburgh, the Blitzburgh defense, NFL defense, the NFC North or AFC North division, where it's all about black and blue. You got that rough and tough Pittsburgh team, Big Ben Roethlisberger. What do you got? Three Super Bowls? Two Super Bowls versus Peyton. The return of the legend. The prodigal child returns. John Elway has his plan. We get rid of Tebow even after he gets us to the Super Bowl and shows that he can throw the ball in the playoff. Even after he gets us to the playoffs and shows that he can throw the ball in the playoff. John Elway says, I don't want you. I want a real quarterback. So he goes out and get probably one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, Peyton. Coming off a serious neck injury where you miss a whole season. What do you expect from Peyton coming this game? The whole preseason, he's been barely touching the preseason. I don't know if the commissioner put out a memo to defenses in the preseason. Stay the hell away from Peyton. Because if you touch Peyton, that's your ass, Mr. Postman. Because nobody ain't touched Peyton in the preseason. And I know that Pittsburgh defense is coming. So what do you think Peyton's going to do in this game?
That is exactly what the commissioner put out there. Do not touch Peyton Manning, because if we lose him for another year, I don't know what we're going to do. But no, that's not true at all. They just been holding Peyton's reps back. Peyton actually looked real good this preseason, but it was his first regular season game. We still haven't seen how he's going to react from that first big hit, because it's coming. What word am I looking for here? Especially against
eventually he's going to come against that team.
Especially against that vaunted Pittsburgh Steelers defense, James Harrison and those crazy linebackers. Now, on the other hand, though, Peyton's a savvy veteran quarterback. He has a quick release. Pittsburgh's defense, 315 yards against a guy they claim they couldn't throw the ball last year. If that guy can do that against you, what is Peyton Manning going to do against you? Eric Decker, Demaryius Thomas, Jacob Tamme, Brandon Stokely, all these little weapons that Peyton has over there, you know, he's been utilizing this offseason. So I'm taking the Denver Broncos in this game. And Mike Wallace has just gotten back to camp. And Big Ben, under a new offensive system, I think everything lines up for the Denver Broncos to take this game at home. And I understand that the Steelers, you know, and another knock against the Steelers, they only have their running back. Rashard Mendenhall still coming off the ACL surgery. There's too many red flags when you talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers here. I'm taking the Denver Broncos.
I did draft Peyton Manning in my fantasy league, folks. I got to preface my statement by saying this, but even with that being said, I still got to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Blitzburgh defense, the black and blue division. These guys really play football. You got Troy Polamalu back. You got James Harrison. You got Ferrier. You got those guys out there playing some real ball. James Harrison, like I said, I got to go with Pittsburgh. I think Peyton coming off a whole year layoff. I think the looks that Pittsburgh is going to give Peyton is going to be just too much. I think they're going to make a few mistakes. And you know what? You still have to see how Peyton's going to react to a big hit. Because you know he's going to take a big hit against Pittsburgh. You got Harrison coming, man. This dude got fined like 3 times last year for a big hit. I mean, he's probably not allowed in the city of Pittsburgh or in the city of Cleveland for what he did to the Cleveland Browns. What Greg Little? For what he did to them Cleveland players. He probably shouldn't even to Muhammad Massaquoi. That kid probably shouldn't even be allowed in that state. So if he's not allowed in the state of Ohio, the state of Denver ain't gonna do much. I gotta go with Pittsburgh. Now let's go ahead and go to the next game. I mean, Peyton's still gonna do his thing, but like I said, I like him probably to have 250 yards passing because they're down. Probably 2 touchdowns. I would say 24-21 Pittsburgh. They'll pull it out late. I like Big Ben. You know, he's a winner, and that's what winners do. They win. Let's go ahead and talk about the Monday night games. They changed the format a little bit in this first week. We got 2 Monday night games, so I'm pretty excited about that. I always love the Monday night games. I mean, I guess I'm just going to be a degenerate for this next week. I mean, I don't know how much sleep I'm going to get. I don't know how my relationship is going to last. I don't know what am I going to do, but I'm going to be watching a lot of football. Cincy at Baltimore, 7 o'clock start, M&T Bank Stadium. You got Andy Dalton, A.J. Green, and the law firm. So anytime you start a law firm in your backfield, you bound to lose. So I got to go. I'm going to have to go with Baltimore, Joe Flacco, and the crew.
Well, that's just a ridiculous comment you just made. The law firm has not fumbled since he's been in the NFL, I believe, over like 570 carries. Some ridiculous number like that. I mean, I guess the Cool Joe, as they call him, you know, as I'm doing that, I'm making the finger motion. Cool Joe, as they call him. I mean, with Ray Rice, Cool Joe. But the Cincinnati Bengals have a good defense, though. I'm going to take the Ravens, though. I mean, I like what I've seen from Joe Flacco. I mean, the guy has a strong arm. He's very accurate. He gets the ball where it needs to be. Ray Rice is an animal. The only question I have about the Ravens is their secondary. Their front 7 is okay, but Terrell Suggs, they will field that. Not right now, but I think when you're talking about making a playoff run for a Super Bowl, they will start to feel and start to missing Terrell Suggs. But that secondary is suspect. You know, Andy Dalton, A.J. Green combination with the law firm in the backfield. And I think the law firm could get some things done. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and take the more veteran team and the Baltimore Ravens with Cool Joe, which is the dumbest name ever. I just don't like that name at all. Chris Humphries.
Yeah, speaking of terrible names that I don't like, who the hell calls their fantasy team Chris Humphries other than the talent?
Chris
folks?
Humphries, a.k.a. Base God.
A.K.A. Base God. So you choose 2 idiots to name your team after. Hey, man, it's your team, not mine. I have no problem with you.
I mean, right now, I'm not even really focusing right now because I'm looking at trades to make for my fantasy team right now. People, this is what I do. I trade my number 1 overall pick to pick up a 3rd rounder. So that's why my team's looking like C.J. Wes Walker, Roddy White, Fred Jackson, MJD, Hakeem Nick, Sean Green, Dwayne Bowe, Phillip Rivers. Those are just to name a few, but that's what I do, people. I make trades. But let's go ahead to the next game.
Folks, let me give you a little bit of insight into what I deal with on a daily basis. This kid, he drafts players, and he hasn't even started the season. He's already trying to trade. Everybody's up for trade already. I mean, this guy's.
This is the business
Have you
that
ever
we're
heard
in,
of
son.
somebody trying to trade out of the first
I'm on the
overall
phone.
pick
I traded out of the first overall pick to
just
pick
for
up
the
a
sake
third
of
rounder.
trading?
No, it's a strategy. You don't win your fantasy league by one pick. You win it by multiple picks and building a solid foundation, which a third round pick is part of your solid foundation to win you a championship. And that's what I did. I traded out of that pick, and now I'm looking to pick up more players, and I'm looking to get Greg Jennings to just solidify that receiving group that I have here.
Which he isn't going to get because he belongs to another owner by the name of Holland Jungle.
And I think
Let's
I can
go ahead
make
and
him
continue
an
on.
offer that he cannot refuse, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm going to be able to make him an
Let's
offer he
talk about that
cannot
offer,
refuse.
man. Put that offer out there.
Oh,
Obviously,
no. I'm not going to put that
Nobody's
on.
gonna stop it.
That's
I don't
between
want, I don't
us.
want nothing to do with your
No,
offer.
I just want
But
you to
mean,
know
let
my
the fans
business.
know.
That's my
You're not
business
gonna let
between
the
me and him.
You're not going to discuss it
Hey,
with the fans?
when
Come
the
on,
trade
Tyler.
happens, fans,
Nah,
I gotta leave you with the cliffhanger. When the
You
trade
gotta
happens,
listen.
I'll let you know.
Listen, I promise you, I won't have nothing to do with your trade. I won't mention your trade to anyone, to him at all. But you gotta at least discuss your trade.
No.
I mean, we gotta talk
I
about
don't feel comfortable talking about my trade, but that's the guy that I'm targeting. But if I'm wrong for targeting a guy like Greg Jennings to make my team better, I mean, I can. But I do have Wes Walker, Roddy White, Hakeem Nicks, and Dwayne Bowe at the receiver. But I feel that I could get a little bit better.
All right, let's go ahead and the final game of the weekend, San Diego at Oakland. You can give me your pick, Talon, because I ain't too excited about this game.
Yeah, this game, it is what it is with this game. I mean, San Diego, yeah, they've been explosive in the past. You know, Phillip Rivers has always been doing great. He had a pretty down year last year. Oakland is another team that was in contention. I mean, also with San Diego with that last playoff spot, but they folded at the end. You know, they came up short. I mean, they both have explosive offenses. They both have fast players, good running games. I mean, okay, all right defenses. But, I mean, the game, I don't know if the game is going to be very, very exciting because it's a late game, too. It's a 10:30 game, so a lot of people on the East Coast really fall asleep around after the first half. So, I mean, it is what it is. Phillip Rivers can be exciting at times. Like I said, that offense has never been a letdown because they throw it around so much. And the same thing with Carson Palmer. They have a bunch of guys over there that run 4.340s, and then you have Darren McFadden coming off the injury. So I think it could be an exciting game if you can stay up and watch it. But I'm going to go ahead and take Oakland in the game, though.
I got to go in the other direction, folks. Josh takes Oakland. I'm going to go with San Diego. I did draft Phillip Rivers in one of my leagues, and that's not the only reason why I'm taking Oakland. I'm not a big fan of Carson Palmer, and that Oakland offense, I think they're just a bit erratic. I don't know what to expect from that team from week to week. I think they have a lot of great potential at the receiver position with Haywood Bay, Denarius Moore, Jacoby Ford. I do think they have quite a bit of potential, but at the same time, I just don't like Carson at the helm. You know, I'm a big fan of McFadden in the backfield if he can stay healthy, but it's too many ifs and a defense that you just don't know what to expect from. I mean, you know, you got a great player in what's the D tackle again that they got from New England?
Richard Seymour.
And with like a Richard Seymour on that team, a few players on their defense, you expect them to play solid, but at the same time, you know, it is the Raiders, and the Raider Nation hasn't had much to celebrate. So Raider Nation, I'm going against you. I'm going with the San Diego Chargers. Let's go ahead and continue on, folks. It's a Spectator Sports, your boy Ronnie Lott, the Sports Jack. Those were our picks. Oakland, Alameda County Coliseum. Terrible, ugly-looking name again. Let's go ahead and look at these team names, and let's go ahead and pick on the ugliest or the worst team name in the league right now, or stadium name in the league. Who you gonna take for the worst stadium name in the league right now?
What are my options?
All right, let's look at a few of the options. You got Bank of America Stadium. That's pretty whack. Candlestick Park is an institution, so we'll never speak negatively about Candlestick Park.
You don't ever speak about Candlestick Park because it's the legend field.
That's what I'm saying.
Legendary field.
It's an institution, so you can't
Up
talk.
top, I'll go ahead and just let you know and cut all that short. We're going to go ahead and with the University of Phoenix Stadium. I just think that's ridiculous. ODU Phoenix, then what that commercial, the college that they have online, you get your degree online. Like, what is that? University of Phoenix. Get out of here. That's the ugly name for a stadium. People are just utterly ridiculous. I mean, these guys are find any type of way to generate money. These owners are put it in their pockets. Next, you're gonna have the NASCAR uniforms with all the labels on the NFL players, making them look like clowns. And I mean, this is just another way for these guys to generate money. Can you be mad at them? No, but it's still a joke to name your stadium University of Phoenix. Like Candlestick Park is just a legendary name, and people just, it's Candlestick. It just did something to you when you heard that name. But listening to University of Phoenix or Sports Authority at Mile High, I'm not going to do anything for. You ruined Mile High Stadium. Everyone loved the name Mile High, but I need more money in my pockets because I got Peyton Manning because he gave him a $100 million contract. So now I got to name it Sports Authority Mile High Stadium.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. A lot of these names are just ridiculous. But I mean, I don't like LP Field, to be honest with you. Tennessee Stadium, LP Field. What the hell is that?
I don't know what it means, but it's not
What is LP? Who is LP?
I don't know who he is, but
how does that relate to the Tennessee Titans?
He has a lot of money. If it's
I mean, LP, come on, are you kidding me? I mean, Heinz Field, okay, Heinz got the rights. Heinz Field, you had Heinz Ward. I ain't wrong for that. I ain't hating on that one. MetLife, Lambeau Field's an institution. Ford Field, another institution. Mall of America Field. Why is a field at the mall?
I understand.
Why is a field at the mall?
I've been to Mall of America. It's not a great mall, so it's just pathetic to me, to be honest with you. Stores in there is not of my tasting, of my liking. I mean,
because it's not a Gucci store.
Yeah, there's no Gucci, no Louis, no Prada, no nothing. It's like people, it's a joke. How can you be a Mall of America? How you the Mall of America? You didn't have the designers in it that people want to buy. So
well, hey,
really
it's not a mall for rappers.
Yeah, listen to me. It's not a mall for rappers. People, you think rappers are the only one who wear designer clothes? Rappers are the one who started wearing designer clothes. Be for real, son. But at the end of the day, AKA Big Rob's team is so garbage right now. I'm just looking at it, and it's pathetic. Have you looked at that guy's roster? Let's go ahead.
Wow.
Hey, people, let me give you a little insight who I have to face in this year's team. I got Darren McFadden, Darren Sproles, Vernon Davis.
Folks, let me give you a little insight into what we're doing. We're giving you a little insight into our Spectator Sport Fantasy Nation draft. Next year, folks, our draft will be open to the public, so you are able to join the league. Get in early, folks, so you be on the show talking about our draft. How many leagues have people breaking down their drafts on the show that'll tell you all about your draft? Big Rob, wherever you are in La La Land, you a fool, Big Rob. You gotta be you a fool for your draft.
No, I got you a fool.
Break down your draft.
Let's break down Big Rob's draft. Big Rob went Darren McFadden with the number 5th overall pick. I don't have a problem with the pick. A lot of people do because he's injury prone. He hasn't played a full season since he came in the NFL.
He chose McFadden over Calvin Johnson.
I really don't have a problem with it because he led the league in rushing before he got hurt. But then Darren Sproles in the second round.
Sproles in the second round.
And then Vernon Davis in the third.
Brandon
Lord in the fourth. I mean, I want to sit here and try to run down the names of who are available, but we don't have that much time to do that.
No,
but
let me do second round. I'll just
at least do the second round.
Second and third round. Okay, when he took Darren Sproles, Larry Fitzgerald went after, Gronk went after, Matt Forte, Greg Jennings, who you're salivating over, and Wes Welker winning all
These are all the players he chose. I mean, these are the players that he passed on and took Darren Sproles. That is a joke. This man's roster is pathetic, people, and I'm going to go capitalize off that by being so pathetic. And Big Rob, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry I got to do you like this, brother, but I will be capitalizing off the weakness of his rosters because I have some players here that he might be interested in. For one, Mr. Run DMC.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about his third round. He took Vernon Davis. I mean, I don't mind Vernon Davis, but not in the third round. Definitely a terrible pick.
You could have got that guy in the 7th
round, 6th round. You had no business taking him there. I mean, especially when you have Ryan Matthews, who's possibly going to be available week 1. So even if he was out week 1, I still say he's a better value.
I still think you take him over
this guy.
Vernon Davis.
You got Marshawn Lynch, a top back. probably top 10 back. You definitely was taking him over Vernon Davis. Are you kidding me? You still got Hakeem Nicks, Frank Gore, Steven Jackson, DeMarco Murray. I mean, this guy's a friggin' joke. Big Rob, this is your last year in the league if you're going to continue to do this.
I think we have to start firing people in this league because I can't put myself around in this atmosphere of people who just don't know what they're doing. I mean, if you're not telling them who to pick. Big Rob has gotten off on the past 2 years of us helping him and telling him who to draft and when to draft them. And now he's making decisions of drafting Darren Sproles in the second round. And then Vernon Davis in 3 when you have to start 3 receivers in this league. I don't understand the logic of what Big Rob was doing. You've been in the league for 2 years now. There's no excuses, Big Rob. You got to do better than that, son.
I'll say this. That's probably not the worst pick that I've seen in this whole drafting thing. In my few leagues that I'm in, I'm in 3 leagues, folks, and within my 3 leagues that I've drafted in, the worst pick that I've seen, Hollywood. I'm talking to you. You go out and take. You got the 10th pick. Or excuse me, the last pick in a 12-man league, you got the 12th pick, so you have the double. And you tell me on the double in a league where you can only start 1 tight end and only play 1 tight end, you take Gronk and Aaron Hernandez in a back-to-back in a 12-man league. So your team.
You mean you took Jimmy Graham?
Jimmy Graham and Gronk.
I mean, the only logic you can find behind that is if he's using one of those guys for trade bait.
But everyone knows that, and nobody's trading you. So now you stuck with your first pick in the second round.
I mean, I'm going to trade him if it benefits me. Absolutely. I mean, the rest of you guys can blackball him. I'm not. If he benefits me, I'm going to make that trade. I mean, I know he's in a vulnerable state at this point in time because you can't start 2 tight ends.
I mean, he's in an extremely vulnerable state, so that gotta be my. And then this is the thing. And then you're at the draft trying to argue people down. You know, we talk about everyone's Monday morning quarterback your picks and second guessing your picks, but your picks need to be second guessed when you're making decisions like that. Now, another guy who makes another ridiculous decision in the draft. I'm talking to you, H, folks.
We usually tell you.
Bet on H, but today, folks, don't bet on H because that fool took Randy Moss in the 5th round. Are you kidding me? You could have got this guy in like the 13th, 12th round.
You could have got that guy off waivers.
You pick up Randy. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
With a serious face, and then he said the sleeper of the draft, too.
Yeah, that pick is going to put you to sleep. Put your team to sleep because it's done.
You just signed your dang death warrant, son.
Anybody else you want to call out for
the guy I want to call out is in Radio Raheem. When in one of Radio Raheem's fantasy football leagues, he drafted Aaron Hernandez in the 3rd round. That is way too high for a backup tight end. I understand he plays multiple roles on the field, but is there that many balls to go around between Brandon Lloyd, the Gronk, Wes Welker, and himself?
Sir, whoever you are who made that decision, I'm talking to you. Please listen up. Or anybody that knows this guy, please get this message to this guy. Just let him know that he should be banned from fantasy football for the rest of his time on this earth. You have no business being involved with anything fantasy related. Like, you shouldn't even say... Not even an F. You shouldn't even use F words.
You shouldn't even be allowed to look at fantasy football rosters.
Matter of fact, you might want to walk away from real football also because you don't know anything about fantasy, so you can't know anything about reality. You should just go into soccer. Why don't you just do a football fantasy draft? You should draft Ronaldo or somebody because you damn sure can't draft American football players. You a fool. Anybody else talent that you want to call out?
I mean, the pick today with Larry Fitzgerald. Sorry, my friend Daryl Moore. I'm going to go ahead and have to second guess you on that one. There's too many quality receivers on the board for a guy who has no quarterback to throw on the football. I mean, it's not a horrible pick, like asinine like those other picks were, but I just had to call that pick out because you don't draft Larry Fitzgerald in the second round where you have so many options that what you had available, Daryl, to you. So who we had? He had Fitzgerald. Well, actually, it was so pathetic, though, because look at the names that went before Fitzgerald. Darren Sproles, Victor Cruz. The Gronk wasn't off the board yet. Jimmy Graham was off the board, but the Gronk was off the board. Matt Forte, Greg Jennings, Wes Welker, Roddy White, Brandon Marshall, Andre Johnson. All these guys were available to him to pick, and he went for Fitzgerald, which is just, I don't understand that pick.
Yeah, it makes no sense with that quarterback situation. I don't know. Some guys, people have beliefs. They have their hunches. Well, folks, A lot of times the hunch leads you wrong, and I think that's definitely going to be the case in this position. So go ahead and name off your you a fool, because we just named 5 of them. So go ahead and give me.
Well, I have to go back to one of the 5. I'm going with H. For that guy, he was so confident in what he was saying. The sleeper of the draft and blase. You drafted Randy Moss, a guy you could have picked up off of waivers, dude. No one was anticipating on drafting Randy Moss. And if not even the fact you could have, say if you would have missed him in the draft, you could have traded some lower level players for him to draft him in the 5th round when Vincent Jackson and all these players were available. Steven Jackson and these guys were available. Dwayne Bowe, all these guys were available, and you draft him in the 5th round. Maurice Jones-Drew, all these guys were available. Eric Decker, Percy Harvin, Steven Smith, Jermichael Finley, Amari Bradshaw, Des Bryant. Look at all these names I'm running off, and you draft Randy Moss, straight face, didn't play last season. You a fool, H. You a fool. Bet on that, fool.
I definitely gotta agree with that, H. You are definitely a fool. I don't know if anyone has ever told you this, but you a fool, man. I don't know what you're doing in fantasy. You're a gambler. Somebody need to play that Kenny Rogers song.
He's a bad gambler.
Don't count your money while you're sitting at the table. You screaming out draft picks like you got it. You just a terrible pick. Go back to Dade County. You're terrible. You're terrible. You're terrible. You like somebody on World Star. And I want to give a shout out to the kid Mike Adams. I see your beautiful lives on World Star doing his thing. You see him? You check him out. The kid Mike Adams, a nice young artist out of South Florida. Pretty talented kid. You know him, your boy.
Mike James. What are you talking about, Mike Adams?
I apologize. Mike James, Mike Adams, all y'all sound alike, man. Folks, that's our show. H, you my fool, too. You got the overall consensus. You just suck. Peace.